Okay, so DJ is going to get started on his project for his 8th grade medieval history project. He ordered online some mosaic stones in the colors that he needs. He's got green for the grass, blue for the sky, color, we got some color for the building for this part.
And some gray.
And we got some gray stones
For the roof.
for the roof. When we got the stones, they were this size, and we've cut them in half. And these were really big, so we had to cut them a lot. And we use these cutter. This is for the marble, and this is for the glass. Everything else was glass. We couldn't find a glass in the color we liked. So now he's got his board that he's going to use to finish it. He's got his graphite paper, and he's going to use this drawing of the castle to outline and transfer using, this is an embossing tool that I just happen to have. You can use just about any sharp object, but this is not so sharp that it'll damage the paper. And that's just going to transfer the picture onto the back of the board. And that's going to take a good section of time, so we'll see you later. So he's pretty much finished. What we did was we taped one side down and the other side we left open so he can lift up and look and see his work, and he can compare how it is. So now we have the outline of this onto our finished board that we're going to mosaic onto. We bought this at Hobby Lobby. It's an artist board. It comes in many different sizes, very inexpensive. I think this one was like $4, and with the 40% off coupon it was half that almost. So we've got our mosaic tiles, and next we'll use, there's lots of different glues that you can use, but we have decided to use liquid nails. It dries clear. It was the most inexpensive option. Okay, well here we are, next day, and getting ready to, we laid some out first. He thought it would be a good idea to lay them out before we start gluing, which I think is a good idea. And he came up with the idea to do the windows first. Okay, so we've got the castle done. It was quite challenging. We had to give up a lot of the detail. There were, if you can see from the picture, there were lots of little windows poking out of the roof, lots of scroll work and lots of more windows, but we had to eliminate them. So he's going to take a little break because his fingers are sore, and we'll do the grass and the sky next. All right, I had to go to the grocery store and I ran into some snags, so I've been gone quite a while, and DJ has been working, and he got the whole sky done, and now he's working on the grass. He put a few trees on there. It's looking pretty good. I'm really excited to see what it looks like when it's grouted. I'm concerned that this glue isn't going to hold too well. It's really thick and hard to work with, and some of his grout lines are really close together, so I'm worried that they're not far enough apart, but every work of art is an experiment, so we'll see what happens. So there it is. Now I looked at the packaging again, and I was wrong about the 48 hours. It's only 24 hours to fully cure, 16 hours to be dry. I had to look at it because I couldn't get the stuff off my hands. It is a silicone base. It's really nasty to work with, but what's nice is you can adjust things. So we were putting them here, and then when the middle and the end came together, as you can see, we needed to adjust something. So you still can make adjustments if you need to. So that's nice. Okay, it's been a few days. It's time to grout. We purchased unsanded grout because we're using glass, and apparently sanded grout will scratch the glass. Plus our grout lines are very small, and unsanded grout is ideal for small grout lines. Be careful when you buy it. We went through several containers. We'd go buy it, get home, and it was hard as a rock. And when we went back to the store, all of them were hard as the rock. We had to go to a couple different stores to find one that wasn't dried out. You're also going to need something this is a really like a super dense sponge on one side for smushing the grout into the lines, and this side is for removing the residue after it's dried for a while. Just follow the directions on the container. All right, DJ's going to get started. This might take a little while, so after a little bit we'll come back. Not quite done yet, but I wanted to show you a few things. There was a tile that came loose on the end. Well, the adhesive didn't hold very good, and as he was grouting, the tile came out. So what I would recommend, first of all, is make sure your tiles are on there really good before you start grouting, but which we did, and we missed one. If that happens, then after you're done grouting the rest of the piece, just stick that piece into the grout and hope for the best. All right, we did the edges. And always remember to do the edges. And now we're going to set the timer for half an hour according to these directions, and then in half an hour we will take a wet sponge and wipe all the excess off. In the middle here you see it's really thick. That's because we've got some real lumpy, bumpy stuff, but I think that's going to be okay. So, I missed all the excitement of wiping the grout off because I was on a phone call that I had to have, and DJ did it all himself. And so I didn't, I came in on the tail end of it, but so basically he had a bowl of water and a sponge, and he'd wring out and make sure the sponge was wet, or not wet, but clean and damp, and wiped over it carefully, and over and over and over again until you get to where it looks like this. Now, you can see that there's still a lot of residue on top of the tiles. That's okay. We're going to let it sit for however long the directions say. Do you remember how long the directions said?
I have no idea.
I think it's like 24 hours. And then you can take a soft cloth and buff it. We had one tile
Two.
right here.
This one and that one come
Okay,
off.
we had two on the end
And
come
a
off.
little one right.
And we had a little
here.
tiny one inside that we
Okay.
just took out. But we grouted the edges, and it's all gonna just sit here now until it dries. And I'm a little disappointed that the castle is not very, it's just kind of blah. So I don't know how it'll look when we're done, but we'll.
And then all this hard stuff on top
Yeah,
of the blue.
here's another thing. He
Okay.
put half the tiles upside down. These little grooves in the tiles indicate they should have been upside down. I told him that when he was working on it, but he's a 13-year-old and he didn't care. So he didn't believe me.
And you can use a toothbrush or a paintbrush.
Okay, don't do it now. Yeah, when we go to buff it, we might be able to buff some of that out. And if not, it's okay. It is what it is. But, so, hopefully this helps you with your project. Watching other people make mistakes is sometimes good for other people. So, anyway, we'll see you in a little bit. When it's dry, we'll come right back. Okay, well, this is going to be our final project. This is it. You kind of missed all the commotion. We let the grout sit on the tiles too long and had a hard time getting the grout off the tiles. What he ended up doing is using one of these green scrubbing dish cleaners. I remembered that this cleans glass really good without scratching it. So he tried it and he rubbed it like this really hard in circular motions, and it took all the extra grout off, and it looks really good. And then this had trouble. The grout wouldn't come off the stone. With extreme caution and adult supervision, I suggested he use a Dremel tool, which he did, and we used the wire brush attachment, and it did a pretty good job. Another thing that happened was there were areas, which I didn't show this on video, after it was all finished, there were areas that had grout separation, like cracking in between the grouts, like the grout didn't get in there good. And I don't know why that happened. I think it's because the grout was too thick and not watery enough, and this like pulled it out. And it was our first time doing it, so we didn't know. So we took a little spatula and put it in the grooves again, second time, just like a little tiny silicone spatula. It was really great, and it worked. And then we let it sit for a while and washed it off again with the sponge, the wet sponge, over and over again. And then we used this pad on it, and it worked out really good. Turned out pretty well. I kind of wish the grout was a darker color, but it's not available. It only comes in black and white. I'm guessing that you can somehow stain the grout some other color, but we don't know. Well, thanks for watching the video. I hope it was helpful for your project. Good luck.